Nothing puts the fear of God in a VTuber fan quite like the bland text "Notice regarding" template or announcement, and the image is a somber looking art with 5-mile-per-hour wind blowing through your hair. But you know what? This does not scare me anymore. It does not stir any emotions the same way it did to me back then, because we all know that they will probably be back. Is this a good thing? In the past 2 years, the industry has been experiencing a lot of notable graduations, and most of those graduations, they actually end up coming back. Back then, it was a sad, emotional affair, riots in the streets, building being burnt down, and agencies committing talent robberies, the whole 9 yards. But after the reincarnation of these talents, whether by indie or new company, it really disillusioned fans about how it all works. Those terms and rules started losing its meaning when key industry players stopped playing by... Sorry, that was my cat. Those terms and rules started losing its meaning when key industry players stopped playing by those rules. Now, Aqua from Hololive, Watson, Gura, Fauna, and even Achan came back from the grave as indies, and it feels good. Beloved VTubers are back, but does it not feel weird? When these talents came back, I am going to bet that a lot of you thought, they can just do that?
What the fuck?
They can just leave the biggest agency in the world and find similar success without joining another one? And I am going to bet that a lot of big corpo talents thought of that too. That their company mates were able to find an equal or even a better success than they were as a corpo. Because for a long time, the impression that your numbers would be halved or significantly reduced was a common sentiment. It was the red scare of corpos. Because for a lot of cases, that was usually correct. There were too many examples of this happening in the past, just that the Hololive talents and the Big Niji talents were the exceptions. It makes a fan feel like it's not something that would feel like the end of an era anymore, but a natural part of a content creator's career. And I think that's healthy. When agencies announce a graduation, it used to feel like that agency might be in danger or that an important part of its culture was lost. Fans and the agency itself would grieve the loss deeply. It's why graduations would be announced weeks in advance, and that the days leading up to it was thrown a lot of collabs and fanfare. Now, we still have that, but we kinda lost something, didn't we? The farewells started feeling temporary and less emotional. The graduation started being sudden. Heck, a lot of people aren't even granted a graduation stream. Agencies started feeling like they could thrive even without that member, even without that culture, even without giving them the courtesy of a graduation stream. And people started being okay with that. People would now shrug it off and see where they would end up next. But don't get me wrong, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing for the VTubers and the fans of that VTuber. The person can just do everyday normal content creation stuff without any problems at all. Perhaps they have to deal with some legal stuff they have to navigate, friends they cannot collaborate, achievements they can't mention. Heck, they might not even be able to explain or share stories about what had happened while they were in that agency, otherwise known as the "you can't shit talk the company" clause. But in general, life is good. Finally, everything is at their own pace and control. But what would traditional fans feel about this? For the people who consume VTubers as a character and not a person. A lot of people are still in the mindset of separating the VTuber model versus the person they actually are IRL. To traditional fans, graduations still sting. It may be numbed a bit, but it's something that they just get used to. Because for fans that consume VTubers as characters, they don't grieve the person behind them. It's the in-jokes, the dynamic, the collabs, and the character. That's what dies in a graduation, and the fact that all of this cannot be brought back due to agency rules or whatever is what hurts. Yes, that's still the same person under a new skin, but it's not the same character. You don't interact with them the same way you used to as a viewer. Not really. And if you're an indie or an indie viewer, this may be something you won't really understand unless your indie Oshi becomes a corpo. Heck, even indies graduating isn't a real thing anymore these days. It would then be a discussion on which agency shall resurface as. For the older fans, the cynicism and the disillusioned way to see this industry takes over eventually. Instead of one last send-off or a parting ceremony from the agencies, a lot of graduations would then feel like they're just one last cash grabs to farm donations or special merch and other stuff. And I don't blame agencies for doing this. The crux of VTubing and the way to make money is to have these emotionally invested people and farm them. It only makes sense to take advantage of that from a business perspective. And this understanding of the agency and the relationship between the VTubers and the industry is why fans become disillusioned with it all. Why VTuber graduations started feeling like they lost their weight. In the end, they always pop back up one way or another, and often, perhaps they don't feel like the same content creator. And one can't help but feel like this was going to happen. As the industry matured, who we used to like and invested our emotions into were going to leave someday, become their own thing, or fully retire. VTubing is entering a phase similar to early 2010s where our heroes and stans from YouTube started having different priorities, and so did we. Eventually, we do grow out of the culture. As the landscape evolves, so do our expectations, our taboos, our values, how we consume this medium, even parts of the culture that have a significant emotional weight. Maybe you won't like or consume VTubing the same way ever again, and to be fair, the industry has changed so much. What was once magical became the meta, what was once buzzing has become business. If things continue, the things we hold most emotionally close will be changed. And VTubing, aside from its anime exterior, will not be the same VTubing that we all fell in love back then. But maybe I'm just being a drama queen. See, in idol culture, graduations isn't really a full-blown retirement. It's just an idol leaving their group and being sent one last ceremony before doing so. Afterwards, that idol can choose to be an indie or even join a new group altogether. Maria Suzuki from AKB48 did something similar. Miyawaki Sakura did too. It's a very normal part of an idol's career. Only VTubing has this "they stay dead" connotation around it, and I think the reason why is because of the name of the VTuber. The whole politics and ownership and legality around their IPs. In fact, idols and VTubing was not originally intertwined. VTubing just happened to borrow some of the naming conventions. Just as VTubing originally started from primarily gaming content to becoming adjacent with idol culture and now about to morph into something else, the scene is ever changing. Are we overreacting? I mean, Giga got harassed for pointing that out, so I'd say yes. In my opinion, graduations don't hit the same way, and its meaning has changed. But that meaning was something largely we made up ourselves as a community to preserve the in-character and roleplay aspect of the culture, so that we can enjoy it better. That meaning is what made VTubing different from regular streaming after all. I make fun of people overreacting to graduations, but that's because I knew what it was like to overreact to a VTuber graduating, even if I fully knew that they were gonna come back. I knew what it was like to grieve a character and not just the voice behind them. In making fun of them, I also make fun of who I used to be, but it also shows that I've grown. Perhaps you did too. I was full-blown doom scrolling, tears in my eyes, shits in my adult diaper, cry whacking the Rule 34s, and I know these people will experience the same thing in the future should they stick to VTubing. A lot of us that's been in here for a while feel desensitized already. Well, yes, full-blown doom posting when tons of very notable graduations like Gura and entire agencies collapsing happened and will still happen, the industry at its core is still the same. Cute girls doing cute things. What I am saying is that it's valid to feel like graduations lost their meaning, even if that meaning was something that we perpetuated. Because it's not like it actually lost its meaning. We just finally see things for the way they are. We are now made aware through tons of controversy and glances from behind the veil that this industry isn't glitter and happy songs. It can be dark and ruthless, just as rotten, corrupt, and cutthroat as any other industry. Graduations aren't a universally sad thing anymore. It can be a good thing depending on the context. It can mean that one story is ending but another one will begin. That this is merely a natural step of a celebrity's career. And that business-minded realistic approach is healthy. Call it disillusion, call it being numb, call it however will put your mind at ease, because maybe that's for the best. Maybe, after seeing glimpses of what goes on behind the scenes after all the drama and the full-blown nuclear explosions that we've been through, maybe some of us can still dare to consume it the way we still used to. If this disillusion can save a VTuber from a bad agency or a fan from making a bad financial decision, if this disillusion can help people have a healthy disconnect between the real world and social media, then good. Perhaps this was something this industry needed for a long, long time. Hi, thanks for watching my video. If you want to see more content and to get your name featured in the boards over here, consider joining the second tier of my membership, My Scholars. Not only do you get videos earlier and uncensored, they get exclusive access to videos reserved only for members, as well as streams for spicier dramas and topics. My Google Docy series is a series where I condense VTuber Google Docs that would normally take an hour or two to finish into digestible 10 to 15 minute videos so you don't have to. 2 episodes a month. For the Gooners, I will also happen to recommend VTuber related materials for your particular needs. Either way, liking and subscribing helps too. I will continue to brainstorm more exclusive content that will make it worth your while to give me money. Haha. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.